She knew. Allison left the club without saying goodbye to her friends. She knew she shouldn't have had that last Cuba Libre. Her friends told her that they make the drinks much stiffer at the local spots than at the resort she was staying at, and she was feeling a bit tipsy. She knew she shouldn't have gotten into a cab all by herself. But the hotel was over 3 miles away, and she could barely walk a straight line. It's not like she was going to try to stumble back along a bunch of streets in a foreign country this late at night. She knew she didn't like the cab driver from the second she got into his car. She knew she should have taken Spanish in high school instead of French. Maybe then she could have understood what he said to her right before he started laughing. She knew she was being paranoid, but she couldn't help but feel in her gut that something was wrong. She knew as long as she made it back to her resort, she would make an effort to drink more responsibly and not be so careless all the time. But she knew she was dead as soon as the cabbie locked the car doors and accelerated down the road past her hotel. To make an omelet. Daniel got into position and looked through the scope of his rifle. From his vantage point, he had a clear shot of his target. This would be the second time he visited Nuremberg, Germany in the 20th century. The year was 1927, 33 decades before the time traveler had even been born. He had arrived to eliminate the menace that would bring about an unprecedented amount of death and destruction, the likes of which the world had never seen. The Nazi anthem began to play, and a young Adolf Hitler would be stepping up to the podium soon. Daniel only had one shot. He said a prayer and squeezed the trigger. His sophisticated sniper rifle fired a silent bullet through the air. The shot pierced the skull of the overzealous man, aiming a gun out the window at Germany's future Führer, 100 yards away. The threat had been eliminated. Hitler would go on to give his impassioned speech and rally the masses. In a few years, Germany would go to war with the Allied forces. The much more sinister, dangerous threat that would have arisen in place of the Nazi regime following Hitler's assassination would never come to power. Daniel let out a sigh of relief, looked down at his hands, and watched himself begin to fade from reality. Though he was terrified that his existence was coming to an end, he took solace in the thought that he had righted his past mistakes and put the world back the way it was supposed to be. Death dust. When death dust hit the streets, it took the cities by storm. The newest, coolest designer drug had been all the rage. Everyone is doing it, from washouts in the projects to the social elites at lush and lavish parties. No one knows exactly where it came from, and no one really cares. They call it death dust because every trip makes you feel like you're dying. Sometimes it stimulates the sensation of drowning. Other times, you feel like you're having a heart attack, but every high is different. I know it doesn't sound fun, but when your brain thinks you're going to die, it releases an insane amount of adrenaline and stimulates your pleasure center like you wouldn't believe. They say it's your mind's final gift to you before death. Problem is, it's really addicting. And half the town is hooked on the stuff. Due to high demand, the price just keeps going up. I've seen junkies sell their cars, their loved ones' belongings, even their bodies, just to get another fix. After a while, though, the addicts run out of stuff to sell. And once you've tasted what it feels like to die, you can't give it up. And the junkies will do anything just to feel that rush again. Even if it's just for one last time. Little Girl in the Well. Lana sat in the bottom of the old dark well, waiting for her parents to return. It had been hours since she had seen them, and her stomach had begun to toss and turn from hunger. She hoped that when they came back, they would be able to get her out. Some shuffling and noises going on above ground caught her attention. "Lana!" her mom's voice called out. We're back, honey." Her parents peered over the lip of the well. Lana's father winced as he looked down to his daughter. She saw that her mother had been crying. Her father mustered up enough strength to speak. "We brought you some dinner. We know you're probably hungry." Her parents struggled to hoist the body of a man that she'd never met before over the edge, then with one great shove sent him tumbling down to the pit below where she had been waiting. The water level in the well was very shallow, and the snapping noise that the man's legs made when he reached the bottom startled Lana a bit. She could see that he was still breathing, semi-conscious even, but Lana was also very hungry. She looked back up to thank her parents and ask them if they would let her out of the well soon. But they had already left. Lana could hear the sound of her mother weeping as her parents hurried back to the house, shutting and locking the door behind them.